Okay, so we should be up and running. So hi, everyone, and welcome to another wellness workshop with me, Kiomi, over at Center of Life. And then we also have the awesome Devon here with us. Hey, Devon.
Everyone.
And we are super excited to be able to bring an information session to you about Elephant Song Doula Services, which is Pittsburgh's first Black-owned freestanding doula practice. And with us today, we have Leah, Pugh, and we also have Kieashia, Edwell, and they're going to be talking about all of the awesome services that they are able to provide to birthing individuals here in the Pittsburgh area. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to them. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, thank you for having us, first off. And yes, we are Elephant Song Doula Services, Pittsburgh's first freestanding Black-owned doula service. You have to say that twice. And this main picture I have because I also wanted to showcase that not only are we Black owned, but we're also all Black staffed. And furthermore, we're all Black mothers. And so I think that's important to showcase because not only are we invested in helping Black maternal health outcomes, but we are also directly benefiting from Black maternal health outcomes increasing. So here's us. Oh, excuse me. I don't know how to go to the next slide. I think that's, okay, there we go. All right, so what is a doula, first and foremost? I kind of broke it down into these 4 sections. So first would be informed support. So if you're somebody who maybe is making a birth plan or is unsure about what a birth plan really means, whenever you go into the labor room, if you're the type of person that has a bunch of questions running around in your head about how labor is going to go, things that you might want to look out for or tips about just labor itself, that's kind of where being a doula, it makes us kind of like an FAQ. We help you to make like birth plans that align with what you are interested in, but also outlining other choices that you might know exist, but don't really know what they do or how they're beneficial or the risks of things and so on. And so to that note, we also are evidence-based educators. So that's from childbirth education to lactation education, just even how to be a most effective support person. Those things are kind of where we try to get like information that has been proven and tested and that we can bring back to the community. And then there's the trained empowerment advocate. So I think it's important to say that the empowerment is central to your birthing experience. It's not about having somebody to say, well, my client wanted this, my client wanted that, although we could do that too, but it's also about helping you to stand in your power, to ask questions and kind of be a cheerleader to ask questions. And if things don't go as planned, to be comfortable with the new plan, things like that. And so then finally, but in the more last but not least sense, we are a hug, a hand, and an ear. And this is where we come in with the comfort techniques, the listening ear whenever you're trying to vent about how the hospitals are not what you thought they would be, things like that. So it's kind of just overall about support in your entire birthing experience so that you know whenever you get into the labor room, you're confident about everything. Okay. Then this is also, being a doula is also about social justice. This existing as doulas in itself is kind of both radical in that we're existing in a parallel where there's a lot of setbacks because of white supremacy, but then also just existing in a radical sense, in that we have been lifted up by all these people before us, enslaved people, the Black Panther Party, granny midwives, and allies as well. They have continually lifted us up since the beginning. And so we have to also lift them up. And every time that we, even as individuals, make our own choices about how we birth, it's supporting that legacy. I have to keep my arrow down here so I can keep switching them. And so because of that, I think it's important for us at Elephant Song to, excuse me, I'm a little under the weather, but it's important for us to talk about reclamation, like about bringing back how we do everything. And birthing is another cog in that, but holistically, we're interested in bringing things back to us and farther from Eurocentric ways, from ways where hospitals try to make decisions for you. Hospitals, but that's not to say that hospitals are all not safe places to birth. That doesn't mean that, but I'm just saying sometimes it can be difficult to feel like you are a person in your birthing experience, not because of how you feel about it, but because of how the world regards birth sometimes. And so I think that it's important to reclaim that as well. And in that, what I appreciate most at Elephant Song is that while we understand, of course, professional jargon, we understand just always, what I'm trying to say is our communication, this vernacular is, excuse me, I'm so sorry, but just the way that we talk is important to us to stay true to talking like how we would talk, communicating how we would communicate. And again, to the Eurocentric views, we're interested in speaking in our own vernacular, if for nothing else but to keep it alive, but for many more reasons. And so I would like to encourage anybody that's watching this and is interested in maybe just being like what a doula is, or interested in maybe hiring a doula, to follow on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram at Elephant Song Doulas, and at Your Black Doula, which is Kieashia's main handle. Okay, going back to Black maternal health overall, I think that more people are becoming aware that the statistics for Black maternal health in the United States, and even more so in Pittsburgh, is not where it could be or where it should be. And so I got these statistics from Healthy Start Pittsburgh that I'll just read off, that says, while peer countries are improving outcomes, complications during labor in the US are on the rise. Black people in Pittsburgh are more likely to die during pregnancy than their peers in 97% of US cities, and fetal deaths are 2 times more likely among Pittsburgh's Black women compared to white women. So although these statistics aren't really, they're not good to hear, they're kind of hard to hear, but at the same time, they're real. And to that note, we have to focus more on what we can do about that. And I think that we try to advocate first and foremost for Black maternal health outcomes, but also just in existing while being pregnant and Black, being part of a partnership or a family that's getting ready to welcome a baby into the world, but advocating for them and sharing the mic with them, because really the people that are going to know most what a community or a group needs is those exact people. And so sharing the mic is an important thing, and sharing information. So in the form of mutual aid, it's important for us to share everything that we can while still honoring our boundaries, but to get out to the people, if nothing else, to be able to make their own conscious, informed choices. And to that, also a commitment to the community. And I think that's kind of shifting the narrative to focus more on the birthers and how they are feeling, as opposed to the process of the birth, if it is in a hospital setting, for example. Okay, and so to that extent, we're also a community within ourselves as well. And these are some of the offerings that we have at Elephant Song. If you wanted to, Kieashia, talk about the herd.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Today, I'm here with Leah Pugh to represent Elephant Song Doula Services. I am the founder. My name is Kieashia Edwell. And we also decided that our space, our office space, as beautiful and as welcoming as it is, deserves to be shared. It does not belong to just us. We want it to be a part of the community. We want everyone to know that we are here for them. And along with our clients that we serve and the families that we support, we also want to be a support to other birth workers in this space, other Black birth workers in this space. And so what we decided was that we were going to create a co-working space that is open to Black birth workers in the area, Black birth workers, Black maternal and child health professionals. So that's anyone from doulas, midwives, all the way to pelvic floor therapists, any type of healing or therapeutic service that you provide that is geared towards maternal health, mothers, children, lactation, postpartum wellness, any of those things, you are welcome to come and join our herd. So if you are interested, you can go to theherdpgh.com, get a look at our facility, get a look at our membership availability, and come on to meet us, have a consultation and to meet us, and to find out if this is a place for you. But we are open to those that are working in the space that honor the birth space and wish to work around and among like-minded people.
Yes, it's a beautiful space too. It's really pretty inside and outside. It's just beautiful. We also have on Mondays, we've partnered with Yoga Motive to do postpartum yoga and meditation. And this is to say, anybody who is postpartum, it doesn't matter if it's been 3 months, 3 years, postpartum is postpartum. And so that's something we'd like to welcome you to as well. Okay, our services. So it's a lot here, but to start, so we have prenatal visits, and that's first. So we use those visits to kind of get to know you, for you to kind of get to know us, and kind of start to build that relationship, talk about lifestyles, things like that. But we talk about lifestyles, nutrition, pregnancy practices to have a healthy and safe pregnancy, but also to build rapport with you, to make us come across more comfortable for you, and build a mini relationship, I guess, for whenever you're in the labor room, so that you're more trusting whenever we employ comfort measures. We have virtual birth planning. So going back to the birth plan, this is whenever we can talk with you about the choices that you want to make for your birth, and kind of weigh out options with you, talk about risks, benefits, just cover your choices for whenever you go into labor. And even postpartum, we can talk about things like that too in our visits, your plans for the postpartum, for whenever you come home with baby as well. So we also have lactation support, and this is information for breastfeeding, and immediately after you give birth, whenever you want to try your first feed, it is to say that we will support you at that time as well. And then there's childbirth education, and this is education about kind of what to expect in a sense, but also educating your support person on how to best support you, basically. Not educating them, but educating on comfort techniques, and then working with you, your partner, to kind of see what will work best in that sense. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, and then there's the role of the birth doula and postpartum support. Do you, Kieashia, want to hit that?
Sure. So a lot of people have, seen popular videos floating around of kind of a postpartum doula describing what she does in a night or in an evening. We are also seeing piqued interest in what a birth doula does. So it's a perfect time to kind of differentiate between the two. A birth doula is someone that's going to support you during your pregnancy and also during your labor and your birth. Most doulas will also support you in that immediate postpartum stage. Elephant Song, our birth doulas will offer support up until 2 weeks after you have your baby. So we're trained to provide that continuous support. It's one-on-one with you and your primary support person, that's your partner. And if you don't have a spouse or partner, we always encourage you to bring to prenatal visits or childbirth education classes, to bring your best friend, bring your sister, bring your mom, bring your cousin, your coworker, anybody that loves you and is willing to learn these techniques to support you during your labor and your birth. We're there to offer information, education, physical support, and what's a lot of times most important is the emotional support. Not just for our client, but also for their support person. They are supporting you as the birthing person, so they will also need support, right? And at that 2-week mark, when we are 2 weeks out from your due date, we are available on call 24/7. And then we are also on call for 24/7 2 weeks after your birth. A postpartum doula is kind of the doula that your birth doula is going to gently hand you over to transition your care as you are going into the next few weeks of postpartum and early parenting, because really you're doing a dual role here, right? You are first healing, right, as the birthing person. And then second, you are learning to care for this new human. And that is a lot going on, right? You're doing this all very stressed out, very sleepy, right? And so this postpartum doula is there to get you all the information that you need about how best to heal your body, and also how best to get your rest, how best to recover, and also to help take care of some of those practical things that will help you adjust. So if you are in need of light housekeeping, if you are in need of some errands to be taken care of, if you are in need of a nap or shower, your postpartum doula is there to make sure that you are supported in every way that you need to be. And of course, both of these doulas are going to be super talented at getting you connected to resources. We are really good at saying, I don't know. If you don't know, that's okay. We can connect you to where you need to go. If you ask me for something and I just happen not to have it right now, don't worry, I'm going to make sure that we can connect you to who can. So very distinct roles, but absolutely important to work in tandem to support mommies and families.
Okay, and so then last, I think maybe you might have noticed throughout this presentation that I didn't mention anything that had to do with us performing medical interventions or us even catching the baby or anything like that. And that's because there's multiple different kinds of birth workers, and a midwife is more on the medical aspect of it. And it's important to remember that a doula is the birthing person's support and not the medical professional. Okay, and then things that we have on the way. So we're working on a newsletter, and we're also working on different ways that through social media and similar mediums, ways that we can kind of communicate with the people more. So be on the lookout for that. And here's our contact information. So our phone number is 412-404-2706. And you can reach us through email at ElephantSongDoulas@gmail.com. But we also have a website, and from that website, you can also inquire about our services. And again, if you can follow us on our social medias on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for Your Black Doula, and on Facebook and Instagram for Elephant Song Doulas. It's at Your Black Doula and at Elephant Song Doulas. And that is that.
Leah and Kieashia, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know that we did have a couple of people join us on Facebook and here on Zoom with us. So if you happen to have any questions for our presenters and you want to place that in the chat, you can do so now. Just as a reminder for those with us on Zoom, we are recording and live streaming. So if you would like to stay muted and your video off, you can just put those questions in the chat. But also if you want to ask your questions later, there's the contact information right there. We'll make sure to send it out in our email blast when we send the recording. You can find this recording on our Facebook page, but you'll also be able to find it on our YouTube page underneath our wellness workshops. Devon, I'm not sure if you have any questions or any comments that you want to add right now while we're waiting to see if anyone at home has any questions.
Yes, I did have a question, but I first wanted to say thank you, Leah and Kieashia, for coming on. That was a great presentation, very much needed service here, and really giving a voice to many Black community members, especially our Black mothers. So I just thank you all for just having this service and doing this work. I did have a question pertaining to health insurance. I did see you had like a virtual planning session. So I wasn't sure how you accept insurance. Is that a conversation for your planning services? If you can just speak more a little bit about that.
Yes, I think I can answer that. So we are working diligently with lawmakers and legislators to really get insurance companies to hear us, to hear that the need for birth support, pregnancy support, postpartum support for pregnant people and their families is super duper important. Unfortunately, that is a very, very long conversation. It should not be, but it is. So as of right now, there are not many insurance companies that will offer coverage or even a reimbursement for doula coverage, for doula services. However, we do our best to make our services affordable to families by offering payment plans, so that families are able to kind of break that down into, much more manageable payments, and they're still able to get excellent doula care. And our childbirth education is included in our birth doula package for that reason, because we want our families, to be completely educated. We also offer I also offer my services via Healthy Start Pittsburgh, their free doula program. We also collaborate with other organizations like the Maya organization to connect families that may need assistance in affording a doula. We also connect to those organizations that offer. And so, there are a few ways. Oh, and we also just found out that families, if they have FSA or HSA funds, they are able, there is a little bit of, je ne sais quoi, a little finesse that you have to, do. But we did find that families are able, if they, if they have a provider that's willing to work with them, a midwife that's willing to work with them, we did find that we can, that families have been able to use their FSA funds. We would love for those FSA funds to be able to, go to other things that families need. We are trying to get insurance companies to, to be on our side. But that was a very long way of saying we have lots of ways that we try to accommodate our families, but right now insurance companies are really trying to, give us the 1-2. So we're working on it. We're working on it.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for answering that, and the transparency of the struggle of getting legislators and the powers that be to understand this is very, very vital, especially for our Black community. This is a vital service that we should be covered on. So thank you. And also thank you for explaining how there's ways to also still get assistance. Want to make sure anyone who comes to your service, nothing hinders them from at least attempting to come and learn some more about your services. I did see some information about you all sharing your space and doing different techniques for postpartum. Is this afforded to anyone who is a part of that family's birthing process, or is that just more for the mothers?
We want everybody. Okay. When I say that, I mean, if you have family members or loved ones that are going to be a part of your birth team. Let's say you're having a home birth and you have invited, multiple family members. If those family members are going to be present, we absolutely want them present at your childbirth preparation classes. We're very thorough in our childbirth education because we want the least amount of surprises, right? We're dealing with a time of high emotion, whether that's wonderful emotion or sometimes that's, a little bit heavier emotion. And we want everybody that's going to be a part of that space to be able to recognize, to be able to honor, to be able to help and encourage and assist. We don't want people just hanging around. Right? It's beautiful for people to be a part, but we want to honor, right, what we're all there for. And so it's super important for everybody to be involved. We have a whole lot of fun. So you don't have to worry about like saying, oh, I'm about to drag my family to this thing and it's going to be boring. We're going to be here for 2.5 hour sessions and I gotta look at these crazy people and it's dry as toast. Nobody wants that, right? So we want to make sure that everybody is involved in learning in a way that they're going to really keep all of that knowledge, right? Because all of that pressure doesn't have to be on the birthing person on the day of, right? You don't have to be in charge of remembering exactly what was on the birth plan, because hubby was there with you at the appointment. Your best friend was there with you at the appointment. Your cousin was right there with you at the, at the birth planning session. So they understand when we are at stage 2 and you are beginning to feel much stronger and much more intense contractions, you don't have to take 10 or 15 minutes of that just trying to describe the pain and where you need the person to touch and wait, don't touch there, that's uncomfortable, and why. All of these things, some of these little roadblocks and little hiccups can be avoided because we have all gotten on one accord way before we got in the birth room. So yeah, we don't want, we are not just pinpointing in laser view on the birthing person. That holistic approach means also educating the family. And by educating the family, each family, you're educating the community.
Yeah.
That's great. That's so great.
Birth is way more, it is about the birthing person, but it has the capacity to impact way more than the birthing person themselves. And so we do want to strive for lifting up the experience of siblings, partners, and so on.
That's so important, the advocacy. When I can't talk, someone can advocate for me. So just hear, you all holistically, just dealing with the family, like you said, that pours into our community. So, but I just thank you for answering those questions and great information. Thank you for your presentation.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Kieashia, did you, was there something else that you were going to add?
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say.
That happens to Vaughn and I, like literally every time we have a meeting. We're like, it's, out in the ether. It's okay. I did want to ask, because I was glad that you spent some time talking about the difference between a midwife and a doula. And I wanted to ask if there's any other like common misconceptions that come up in terms of like your services, or if there's any other sort of like, what are the most kind of common questions that pop up about like a doula or some of the services that you're offering?
So a lot of people kind of think that doulas and midwives are the same. They are not. They are very complementary to one another. We like to work together. Your doula is going to take care of your mind. Your doula is going to take care of your, help you manage your emotions, your mental capacity, and your mental wellness. And also a lot of your physical preparation and wellness as well. You see your midwife, you do see your midwife more than you would see your OB, but you see your doula more than you would see your midwife. Your midwife is going to take care of all of your medical needs. That means all of your blood work, any of your, any blood pressure concerns are going to be handled by your midwife. So for example, if there is let's talk about blood pressure. If there is an issue with blood pressure during a pregnancy, how your midwife would help you address that would be to have you monitor your blood pressure, perhaps prescribe a medication that is going to help lower that if you are suffering from chronic hypertension. Your doula would then be responsible for getting you information about stress management, how to manage your blood pressure with movement, with diet, with other means of self-care and wellness. So while these are both very important roles, and you can see kind of how they would go together, it's important that you have the medical side of it, that you're getting blood work done, that you're having your urine tested, that you're getting other medical exams and testing. Your doula is going to take the, kind of the other side of that coin, and make sure that you're supported through all of the decision making that you have to go through, and through all, anything that could come up in your labor. So, your medical care is going to be your midwife. Anything that is, emotional, physical, or mental is going to be your doula. Educational and informational as well.
Thank you so much for going into that a little bit more for some of our listeners at home. We definitely appreciate that. And I really liked the idea of a herd when you talked about, we want to be able to service like the entire herd, and we want this to be a community space for the herd. I really enjoyed that. And we just appreciate the work that y'all are doing so much, because representation is not only vital, but it's life-saving, right? When people feel seen and they feel heard and they know that they matter, it's life-saving. So just thank you so much for the work that y'all are doing in the community. We see you and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
So for everyone at home, like we said, we will share the contact information. So if you would like to reach out to any of these lovely individuals that we have here with us, please do so. I am sure they would be happy to give you more information. But other than that, thank you everyone at home for joining us, here on Zoom for joining us. And again, Elephant Song Doula, thank you so much for everything that you do and for being in this space with us.
Thank you. Everyone have a good night. Thank you.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.